go fishing for the love of fishing, not for the love of glory.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Deep Drop for another episode. This is number 50, ads. It's time to raise the bat, mate.
A big 5-0.
We have cracked the half ton. We're here raising the bat. It's an audio podcast, ads. No one can see you raising the bat. Fuck. Yeah. I'm Luke McCredden. This is Adam Ring. And, mate, we've done 50 episodes, but we can't guarantee that everyone knows what the fuck we're talking about every week. So over to you for the 50th time. What the hell are we doing here?
All right. Listen, if you have joined us from the very start of the Deep Drop journey and you haven't worked out what this podcast is about yet, don't stress. Because Luke and I came up with the concept for the podcast and still don't know what the Deep Drop's all about. So every week we try and explain what the hell it is. We talk shit. There's some little bits and pieces of goodness in there that'll improve your fishing. We've taken it a step further recently and got guests to come and help us decipher our own bullshit to try and make the answers even clearer. And that's where you come in. Yeah. Get involved on social media. We need you to decipher what we're saying and tell us what we mean.
Amazing. Well done. You've just nailed it. You couldn't be more accurate there. We've have guests on now to really give us their thoughts, most of which leave with a headache, I'm pretty sure.
That's what we do.
But you're spot on. Instagram's a place to do it. Get involved, and we love it. We love nothing more than hearing your feedback and commentary on what we've spoken about, because we're just giving our thoughts. We certainly don't claim to know it all, but we've been around the traps for a little bit, ads. But on that, we're calling the Deep Drop family to come together in Melbourne, because we're doing it again live. We are at the Melbourne Boat Show on Saturday, the 28th of October. We'll be there in the afternoon. We'll be there probably most of the day, but we will be on stage in the afternoon on the Saturday. Melbourne Docklands is where it is. Now, obviously, it's all the latest in boating and marine and watercraft and all the water sports and all that sort of thing. So we'll probably tackle a few of those sorts of things on stage, ads, I reckon. We'll probably get our boating game on, but we're going to need you guys. We're going to need you there front and center, because we need your feedback. We need your help. We don't do this. This isn't just an Adam and Luke show. This is a whole Deep Drop family show.
And this is perfect, because me personally, I'm going to need the people out there to give me their opinions, because I am going to be 100% open and honest. I don't know fuck all about boats or boating or marine accessories. I might be able to turn a sounder on and talk a little bit of bullshit about that pre-live scope.
Yeah.
So I'm going to need all the help I can get. So we'll ask the questions.
That's what we're calling for.
Yep. We'll ask the questions. I'll give you some half-baked take on everything boating, and you guys can come along and correct me, because I'm sure as shit going to need it.
Yeah, come on, get down. Now, tickets are free, and that's the most important part about it. Book your tickets, your free tickets on the Melbourne Boat Show website. It's the best way to do it. Book them, but they are free. Get down, bring your family and friends. If there's someone that you know that hasn't heard the Deep Drop, that you think need a bit of Deep Drop in their life, bring them down.
And please bring the kids. We do get a little bit loose on the recorded podcast, but I can assure everybody out there it'll be strictly G-rated.
Yeah.
But we're going to have fun. There's going to be plenty of laughs. We'll talk all things boating, throw a little sprinkling of fishing in there, Luke, and I think it's going to be a great afternoon.
It's a great one. We're going to tidy things up. We do get loose. We're going to tidy it up. We want the kiddies to be there, because that's the future of boating and fishing. Get them down. They
can be involved too.
And don't worry, if you come down and you're a passionate Deep Dropper, I've got some stubby holders, ads.
Yes.
I have got some bright green Deep Drop stubby holders that I'm willing to throw out to those people that come on down. So get down there. It's going to be a lot of fun. As I said, we'll be down there on the Saturday afternoon. So come down, say hello. Now, we've got a show to do. And this particular show is exactly what you were talking about earlier on, ads. We have brought in a guest, but not just a guest. It's a proper expert, a proper angler who knows how to get it done in, I'm saying, every species in Australia, I reckon he'd be pretty good at. I don't think there's any that he'd be sort of going, I have no idea what to do.
But that's what makes this guest so special. Even if he didn't, I think he'd work it out pretty quick. Yeah. Which is kind of annoying because I can't even catch the local species.
Yes. Yeah. Now, it's someone who's been in the industry for quite literally the vast majority of their life.
His whole adult life and some.
Yeah, yeah. We talk about Lee Rayner, and we are pumped to have him on the show. He was part of a live show we did a couple of months back, ads. Lots and lots of fun, and it is an absolute joy to have him back on the show. So let's get into it. Lee Rayner, welcome to the Deep Drop. So great to have you on, mate. What's happening?
Thanks, fellas. It's nice that you exhausted all other options and then you called me.
It's fun. Dave Standing said the same thing a few weeks back, and we told him he was at least number 6 or 7. You were at least in the top 20, Lee.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
So, it could be worse. You could have been 21st. So, you're going all right.
Exactly. Hey, you could have not called at all.
Mate, if there's one thing I've learnt over the many, many years of doing bits and pieces on radio and podcast and various other things, I'll never get tired of talking to you about fishing, Lee. And it's truth be told, we get to work together pretty closely these days. And I think, Ads, it's fair to say you're probably in the same boat. You just can't get tired of talking fishing to someone like Lee.
Yeah, Lee, I'd cast my memory back to my very first day in a tackle shop with it. You were working as well, and I must admit it was quite daunting. And then as we got talking and, just started to figure out how full of shit. Yeah, it was good, mate. It was awesome to become good mates. Yeah. And here we are, nearly 20 years later and still talking shit.
Yeah, so Ads, was it in the first 5 or 10 minutes that you went, this guy's an idiot?
No, it was a little bit longer than that because to be fair to you and everyone else working it there at the same time, there was probably another 4 or 5 fucking idiots before you, so I had to wade through them first and then sort of get to you last. It was good times.
Just got to sift through,
Did I take the cake, though? Like, was I top of the fruit?
Close second. Second.
Okay.
Oh, we're not talking about number 1.
Let's not do that.
Was that the boss?
Oh, no.
Definitely
not.
But Lee, we've done very well up until this point to not name names with certain other people, so just hold it together, my friend. You will know exactly who it is, and if you don't, we'll tell you off air. If you think hard enough, I'm sure you'll work it out. Anyway,
I've got it.
Good to have you here, but it's funny. It's been a pretty wild ride for you and I know most people probably think, we're going to talk about filming and fishing and that, but you actually have had a fair crack in the retail space and done pretty bloody well, if I don't mind saying so myself. How's that ride been for you?
I loved retail, and I'm pretty lucky, as you boys are. We've done all aspects of it, from consumer to retailer to wholesaler. So. And it's really interesting, and I think it gives you a very good grasp of the broader world of fishing by being able to have done all those aspects of it.
100%. And, you list all those aspects, and you know what I'm best at? Consumer.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. You can't take the consumer part away.
No, I think we're all very good at that. And is it being good at it or bad at it if you're spending thousands of dollars every time you walk into a tackle shop?
I like to call it consistent.
Yes.
Perfect. Let's throw back, draw back the curtains a little bit, mate, because you are spending a fair bit of time now. Obviously, you're still obviously doing all your filming stuff, but you actually have a fair hand in the anaconda world, and which is where I'm living at the moment as well, and finding it very interesting. It's a lot of fun. It's a giant beast that we're both sort of getting our head around a little bit, mate. But it's pretty cool to have I suppose, a finger in the pie or a say in what's getting into one of the biggest outdoor retailers, in the country.
Yeah, it is, and I think what's really exciting is that I never thought the opportunity would happen for me where they approached me, because let's be honest, I don't have the balls to go and approach a company like that. They approached me, but aside from getting to go fishing and filming and do what I genuinely love, they genuinely, I thought I'd be, oh yeah, you go over there and you do your thing, and that's all that the communication would be. But they actually listen to what we're saying, Luke, and take on board what things we say, and I never thought that would happen.
There's something to be said for spending time in the game, and I see it with yourself as well, mate. And we're only talking. I think we might have even been talking, Lee, while we're at AFTA, watching people roll through the Rapala stand, for example, and
Yep.
There's a difference between stepping into an environment and sort of faking it until you make it, and actually having runs on the board. And I think for both of you guys, I don't want to make this a let's all hug each other type podcast episode, but the fact of the matter is you guys have got more runs on the board when it comes to talking tackle than probably anyone I know. So there is a difference between just doing what you do because that's your job and actually have lived and breathed it right through your career. And I think you've both collectively done that. So I think it's good that people are listening to you, mate. It's probably a first.
Yeah, hey, no, I can't get a 12 and 14-year-old girl to listen to me, but
fucking hell, don't even get me started on that.
What I do struggle with though, and you've been a bit of a really good sounding board for me, Luke, is as we've all done, we've worked in tackle stores where we can click our fingers and make things happen tomorrow. It's not that easy whether you're an Anaconda or a BCF or whatever, and you're dealing with bulk, big stores. I'm like, let's get these lures in. Let's just get them on the shelves tomorrow. We have to have this now. On your big box stores, it's a process to do that sort of stuff. And I suppose I get frustrated, and I've got Luke there just going, just cool your jets, because it just doesn't happen that quick. So, but the long game of this is really, really exciting.
It is exciting, and I reckon I'll throw to you because we're all three of us are probably guilty, and I still do fall into the trap a bit, Lee, like you're talking about, where you sort of think, we've come from the independent side of things, where you're right, you're sort of buying and doing things for a store, as opposed to not only 90 but giant stores. So lots of stock and lots of a big spend.
And also even where are they going to put it?
Yeah.
Like we could, in a tackle store, we could go, just get it in, we'll make it work. It's not that easy in a huge store like that.
Yeah. What about from the wholesale side? And I'm curious because your experience, and I haven't really spoken to you much about it on this podcast, Ads, but your, I suppose, transition from an independent retailer to one of the best brands in, the world actually, but certainly in Australia. Have you finding that where you see a store, you go, just chuck some of these in, it'll work? Like, do you get that same sort of, or a similar sort of frustration?
It's yes and no. I'm one that, and like you guys too, I've known both of you a long time, so I don't feel as I'm speaking out of school here, but regardless of what we get into personally, it's all in. So since joining Rapala and doing what I'm doing now, coming from a tackle store that was dealing with all the wholesalers, I like to immerse myself in what Rapala has to offer. So I'm insanely proud of the gear that I'm able to sell. I know it works. I think it would suit most tackle stores. I'm also realistic. Not all gear suits all stores, whether it be big box like Anaconda, whether it be a tiny little shack in a rural town that just sells a few bits and pieces to service the local clientele. But I am lucky. That Rapala is such a big company with lots of sub-brands. It's not just Rapala. There's a lot of stuff that we do in various other brands that all fall under the Rapala umbrella. But this is a funny just industry that's so small.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting watching the new age of the way everything's done enter itself into what we do, because typically I'd say it's an old industry. There's a lot of old heads with insane amounts of experience, unbelievable amounts of knowledge. But on the other side, you've got this young cohort coming into the industry where, like you said, Lee, everything's got to be instant. And it has to be. That's the world that we live in now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's very interesting watching the whole industry trying to transition from all the experience in the world through every species you can think of to catch in Australia. Every tackle shop has got a local guru who knows what's going on, is really confident with the gear that may not be the latest and greatest, but really knows that local area inside and out.
Yeah.
But then also watching some younger store owners come in and delve into the online space.
Yeah.
Whether it be through online retailing, online marketing, promotion, self-promotion, it's, YouTube influencers. You mention half of these things to some of the older heads in the industry and they've got no idea what you're talking about. They do understand it's very important, but they don't know where to start. And it puts the industry in this really interesting spot. And watching it go forward is going to be fascinating.
What about the pace of it? Lee, and you both would have a different sort of view on it, which would be really interesting. I'll start with you, Lee. The pace of which, as you said, Ads, it is a small industry in the grand scheme of things, but the pace of which trends come and go, do you think it moves faster now than it did, say, 20 years ago, Lee?
100%. 100%. And I think that's, for us here in Victoria, possibly a byproduct of having such good fishing these days. Like, let's be honest, 20 years ago, snapper in spring, whiting in summer, trout, or if you're lucky, you caught a nice gummy shark, cod were non-existent. Now, like, I love the next 6 months, but I fucking hate the next 6 months because I will literally stand in my garage for 3 hours and go, do I chase bass or maybe I could go for a kingy? Oh, hang on, what's the wind doing? Maybe I could go and and so it makes fishing move fast. It makes fads move fast. Things change. Someone does something different. Everyone jumps on it. Like it's just how it is. Classic example, our big tuna. All of a sudden they're all eating skirts and you've got to have a pink lure. And then next week, some guy catches on a King Brown Laser Pro. All of a sudden you've got to run King Brown Laser Pros. And as a retailer, you're constantly chasing. But it's exciting. Like, it's an exciting problem to have too. Imagine how boring it would be if we were still just like, oh, we're coming into spring and the snapper are going to chew and then we'll get into whiting. Like, just kill me now. Seriously.
I reckon it's a great point. And I think you're right. The species that are on offer down here, but I think, nationwide, it's the species, but it's the experimenting with techniques, and all of a sudden it opens it up to a new style of lure or rod, or I remember when the storm thing hit. The storm hit. That sounds a bit weird, play on words, but remember that sort of opened up a whole new thing. And I mean, you could reel them off. There's every year there's a couple of big things that happen, and I love it personally. I think it keeps me on. Being someone in my position, and same as both of you in a lot of ways, is like it keeps you on your toes. You have to keep agile.
Well, that's one of the most fascinating things about what fishing tackle's done over the last 20 years. Just take Victoria for itself. It's been interesting to see what initially started as a fad, but you hit that little patch of each fad and what happens next? Does it become just a staple part of every tackle shop in Victoria?
Yeah.
Or does it get thrown out the window? Because there is a little from each category. I mean, I think we've spoken about it before, Luke, but take catching squid and squid jigs. I remember the days where the only squid jigs to buy were 3 for $10 in a dump bin.
Razorbacks.
That's right, Razorbacks. Then see it progress into, say, a fancy, like a Yozuri shrimp hunter that might have been 16 odd bucks for one. But then it progressed to $30 Hayabusa jigs, then go to $40 Gancraft stuff. But the fad, it never died. It just became a regular part of every tackle shop around Melbourne or around Port Phillip Bay and Western Port. It's interesting because the fad sorts out at what price point lures want to sit. So we saw both extremes, and now we know exactly where it sits, where you're going to get the most quality, I guess, for how much money you're going to put down, because you can spend endless amounts, even on something like a squid jig. But it seems to be around that $20 to $22. You're going to get something that catches as many squid as you want, ultra reliable, works really well, and is easy to work, and you can build around that. But we saw it with Murray cod.
Yeah.
Who would have thought 20 years ago that we were going to be selling lures that were up to $90 for one?
Oh, yeah.
To go and fish for cod in minus temperatures.
Yeah. Well,
It's
can
insane.
I throw Lee under the bus here? Because Lee, tell us how much you just spent on some stick baits recently for kingfish.
Well, in my defence, so a fishing trip, so there's two things, fellas. A fishing trip's not a fishing trip unless you've got a new lure or rod or something.
Correct,
It's just not.
correct.
Like Luke and I going fishing tomorrow. I've gone and got myself about 10 more squid jigs to just
correct.
top up to the 300 I've already got.
Yep,
But
has to happen.
But in my defence, I wanted these stick baits because I just wanted them, and I sat there for 2 days procrastinating about them because I couldn't pick out of the top 4 colours that I wanted. And Mia's just like, Dad, just buy the 4. You know you want the 4. I'm like, I am not buying 4 of them. They're $80 each without hooks. So what you do, this is the best way to do it. You buy 2, right? And then 24 hours later, you buy another 2.
Because you don't feel as bad about
And
having
it
the other
doesn't
ones
hurt
already
as
there.
much.
So that's I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but that's over $300 of stick baits without hooks that I'm calculating.
Yeah, but Luke, then you can sit in your lounge room and you can twiddle them and you can spin them around and hold them up in the light. It's amazing. It's hours of fun.
No arguments from me, mate. It's not us that we have to convince that that's justifiable.
And that's why I'm not married.
Hey, I want to throw back to something that you've obviously had some, some long-lasting relationships, and I look at Adam's shirt right now, Rapala. I associated you with Rapala for many years, Lee.
Yeah.
I go back because there's a lot of, I suppose, people that are up and coming, whether they're content creators and trying to, step up to the next level, and a lot of that next step up is seen to be, partnering up with brands or, tackle brands or whatever it is. What was your journey like? Because it was a different time, and I'm not saying you're old, but you're old.
Oh, no.
It was a different time when you kicked off. I mean, in fairness, yours wasn't a normal sort of step in it. You hit the ground running with some TV stuff, and then obviously you were doing some stuff with Shimano. But when you were, I suppose, working your way through the media landscape, was aligning yourself with brands really important or not as crucial?
Well, for me, Shimano was critical to me, and my journey with them started when I was 13. I sent John Dunphy I typed him out a letter on a typewriter, and
You're sounding so old.
Dude, I
Shit,
sent
how
it
old
to him,
are you?
and it was on a yellow piece of paper, right? And then this guy sends me back like this box rocks up in the mail. Mum's like, oh, there's a thing here from Shimano, and it was a 3,000 bait runner. I still have it. You cannot get these things. And Dump wrote this letter, and he said, keep in contact. So I did, and he'd send me bits and pieces, and then I got to do the Junior Anglers Club at Southwest Rocks, and my journey really started there. And then back then, that's when I was 14, 15, that's when Rex was massive. Like when Rex Hunt Fishing Adventures was just like they called Channel 7 Channel Rex.
Yeah.
So they came to Cooma, and I was fortunate enough to take him trout fishing, and it was very much a case. Honestly, I was in love with Shimano because the support Dump gave me. But outside of that, I didn't care. I just wanted to go fishing. I wanted to go fishing. And I would say to anyone, and I say it to my kids, don't ever knock back an opportunity to go fishing with someone or to go and do something. Don't knock it back, because if you miss it, you can't get that back. And everyone goes, how'd you get into what you did? And I go, well, what do you do to get into doing what you're doing? I don't know. It's right place, right time, putting yourself out there, asking questions. And I tell you what, guys, I would tell you that one thing I reckon that frustrates me these days, and I'm probably just getting older and more sour, I find a lot of this younger generation, they, like growing up and even now, like I just want to be a sponge and get info from people and learn shit. These young kids, they'll go, oh, have you been fishing? Have you caught any snapper lately? Go, oh, yeah, I caught 2 snapper, and they're so quick to go, yeah, well, I caught 12 snapper, and I've been here, and I've done this, and I did, and like you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, which means you should listen twice as much as you talk.
Can I just say, I absolutely love that, and I just think that is gold. That's a gold nugget for anyone listening that might be trying to, and by all means, I think it's great that people are trying to put their foot in the industry, whether it's through whichever platform, whether it's media or it's getting into the tackle industry or something. I couldn't agree more, and I think I'm a bit the same in that, and I've always been, and this is kind of what the Deep Drop is built on. Adam and I have never been shy to say, not sure about that, tell us what you think, we want to learn. But I've also kind of grown up doing that to the point where, I mean, I do it with both of you guys. I'm constantly picking your brain on ideas or thoughts on stuff. I'm more than happy to walk down to a local jetty or pier and talk to the old guys because they're polling in fish like left, right, and centre.
Why is he catching 50 gars and the others aren't?
Exactly. What's he
doing?
Yeah, and it's a huge part of everything though, Luke, because I remember even as I progressed through my certain roles at the tackle shop, one of them was I got to a point where I was sitting in on hiring people to come and work for us.
Yep.
It was absolutely impossible to find someone who didn't just have a passion for fishing, but had a passion for fishing gear. And this is, I'm huge on this. All of the ones that have been in the industry for a long time and pioneered the way for whether it was me or you, Lee, yourself, starting out with Dumph at Shimano, all of these little things, we're still doing what we're doing in this industry because we have a passion for everything. Whether it be just going fishing at a grassroots level, whether it be fishing tackle, both new and old, whether that's taking advice from guys that have been doing it for 20 years, 50 years, or guys and girls that have been doing it for 20 minutes. Yeah. It's just about trying to immerse yourself in everything, not just I have to catch something so I can put it on social media so that all these people that I don't know think that I'm fucking legit.
Yeah, like the reality is, boys, if Instagram, Facebook blew up tomorrow, I would be wrapped.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not that person. Yes, I put stuff on it, and I do it because I have to, and it's what I do.
Yeah.
But I don't love it. I can tell you now. Like, I would rather send you two boys a photo of a fish than post it on my Insta.
Which you do, by the way, and it makes us
which
very
I love
jealous.
doing to you. Hey, I'll FaceTime you while I'm hooked up to a big tuna.
You literally do that. Like, you literally do that.
And all three of us have teenage girls, so there's also another reason why we fucking hate social media.
Oh, mate, yeah. 100%. But if you're smart, you shut your mouth and you get this thirst for learning. Like the other week, I took the boys from Black Pete game fishing tackle tuna fishing. We caught no jumbos, but I had 3 unbelievable game fishermen on my boat that catch more fish in a season than most people will catch in their life. Gianni's like 30 years old. He has come out of the blocks. He won the champion this, champion that, Central Zone. He wiped the floor in New South Wales game fishing this year. I spent my whole day asking him about what he does to catch more marlin. He spent his whole day asking me how to catch jumbo tuna. The things I learnt from him in one day, little things, little tidbits of info, the things I learned, it will change my game fishing season this summer, I can tell you now.
The other point that you raised on top of never stop learning, and it goes hand in hand, is the taking your opportunities and jump on board and fish with as many people as you can. Walk a river with someone different.
Get good at it fishing with the same guy all the time.
But it's also and it's also that you learn so much different stuff from different people. Like I said, I'm constantly picking both of you guys, your brains. But then I could talk to you, Lee, about trout fishing, and then someone else about trout fishing, pick their brain, and I'm just learning different stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's, I will gladly put up my hand and say that I'm not even in the spectrum of conversation when it comes to great fishermen, but all the people that I try and associate myself with and learn from are, and that's what I love. and I feel like it strengthens my fishing game, and it's...
Go fishing for the love of fishing, not for the love of glory.
That's right. And this day and age, listen, social media is crucially important. Whether you're an influencer that's trying to have an influence on fishing, as long as you're doing it for the right reasons, go for it. I'm happy to support you. I think it's great.
Yeah.
If whether it's a wholesale company, whether it's a big box store, whether it's a small independent tackle shop, social media is crucial.
Yep.
We all have to embrace it. We've got no choice, because if you don't, it's a very quick way to get left behind. It's nowhere near what it was 10 years ago, but it's a juggernaut, and you have to be using it. But some of the things I see getting sacrificed for that is the crucial stuff that gave us the knowledge to still be doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because social media is turned in, and I'm just talking for fishing. I'm not talking about life here. This is just a fishing-based conversation. It's turned the sharing of information into something that's non-existent, because there really is so many people fishing in, and I'll just use Victoria because that's where we're from. Fishing's exploded. It really has.
Yeah.
Lee, you just rattled off at the start of this podcast. It used to be snapper in spring, summer in whiting in summer, which would then, sprinkle in a little bit of gummy shark, sprinkling a little bit of mako shark when you can't catch snapper and the whiting haven't started yet, and a little bit of trout in the winter, and no one really cared much else.
People used to put their boats in layer in bulk numbers in winter.
So now it's ridiculous. We have cod year-round in some impoundments.
Yep.
Yellow belly are huge. I've been the last few weeks, my run's taken me into central Victoria. I'm telling you, redfin are one of the most popular. I'm on the redfin train, man.
Adam has gone off the rails with when it comes to redfin. Like,
really?
And he is, and on air, like we have recordings of him making all sorts of outlandish comments about redfin. But I will say and we'll throw this to you, Lee, as well, because I know you've done plenty of redfin fishing and Murray cod fishing. Adam came to the show once and said he's saying redfin are more popular than the Murray cod when it comes to
yellow belly combined.
And yellow belly combined when it comes to recreational anglers, what they're more interested in.
I reckon that's about the smartest thing that Adam's ever said.
Yes, got one.
You know what? At the time, it caught me so off guard, and we were shocked. And I said, "Jesus!" But we went to Instagram with it, Lee, and we asked the people, mate. There was a lot of support for ads, and I just think that's one of those things that is almost like social media lies to you, because Murray cod are fashionable, like they're big and throwing cool lures at them and stuff. But when you go back to the people, when you go back to the people that are doing it, they're not the most popular.
No, they're not, mate. Mate, you can't beat them. You can catch reddies in bulk. They will live in a dirty drain or a beautiful lake. They don't give a shit. They grow big, and there's waterways in Victoria and South Australia with genuine clunker reddies. They look amazing. They taste unbelievable. They are the whiting of fresh water. You don't feel bad if you whack 10 reddies.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that's 20 fillets. And let's be honest, most people, if they don't know fishing that well, or they're not, that up to speed on fishing, if you go to central Victoria, what's going to save your day? It's not going to be a Murray cod in 99% of the cases. It's going to be a reddy or 10.
Redfin.
Is this the best night ever for you, Ads? Because Lee's just reeled off another thing that you brought to the show a few weeks back when you said a redfin, the freshwater whiting. You said that.
But
Have you eaten them, Luke?
Yeah. They
are that good, aren't they?
No, they're good. Yeah. Well, especially when it comes to freshwater fish, I think
they're easily the best freshwater fish. Nothing comes close.
I think so.
Far. Oh,
what about
20
trout?
Tastes pretty good. No.
And you know what, Lee? I'm not editing that out.
Yeah. And do you know what you use to catch them? 42 centimetre brim.
Oh.
That is the best.
It's it's hard to argue. They're a very popular species.
I didn't make any of those comments up to try and be funny or try and be ridiculous. As someone who grew up in Melbourne, and most of my fishing's been in Melbourne, I had no idea the popularity of redfin. You get them in a few residential lakes and stuff around Melbourne and the southeastern suburbs and all that sort of stuff. I'm telling you, you get into redfin country, everything else is a bycatch.
Do you know what I associated them with? And apologies straight off the bat to everyone out there listening. I associated them with like just old people. What they fish for. Because my grandpa fished for them, and
Luke,
Neil Drummond.
Look, that's okay because I used to associate whiting fishing with old people.
I know. I'm so sorry, everyone out there. That was rude.
So, seeing as I find redfin and whiting fishing really enjoyable nowadays, am I old?
Yes.
I just called redfin the best species we've got. I don't know what's going on here.
Let's put this in perspective, fellas. Let's go inland Victoria, Lake Fynes, Lake Lonsdale. People aren't going there to catch the trout that fisheries stock in there, are they? They go there to catch the redfin. Lake Fynes, Lake Lonsdale, known for big reddies. You go to Lake Tullarook out Maryborough Way, if there's a dozen boats on the lake, 10 of them are fishing for reddies. And there's huge trout in those lakes, but they're fishing for reddies.
Yep. Or even just take redfin as a species we have here. Technically, they're classed a noxious species.
Yep, I think they're beyond that now.
They're in the same class as European carp, technically speaking.
Well, hang on, let's go noxious species. Trout.
Well,
not noxious.
Don't you dare. Because you're about to piss off a heap of old people.
Oh, yeah. I pissed off the local fisheries guy at Lake Fynes when we were there at a Vic Fish Kids event. And have you ever seen Lake Fynes?
Only driven past it on a run.
Okay, so just shut your eyes and imagine the most amazing bass lake you've ever seen. It's shallow, it's got reef beds, it's got snags, it's just unbelievable. And when I said to him, when he said something, I go, mate, what would make this lake amazing is about 500,000 bass in it. And he didn't really like that because he said in kind words that they would eat all his redfin, and it's known as a redfin lake. So, that then bounces back to how important those reddies are to those parts of the world. Saying that, give me 500,000 bass in there.
Oh, easy. And the reddies, and like I said, noxious species, but there's no correspondence from any of the peak fishing bodies to say, get rid of them.
No, not these
They're
days.
embraced.
No, and I think there's a byproduct of that too, guys. So that the next step, aside from that, is that because there's so many cod now in so many waterways, they're keeping those reddies in check. Like,
that's right.
The amount of reddies that are getting gobbled up in Lake Eildon by cod every year now is astronomical, but that's a food source for the cod, which is making great cod fishing, but also you see better sized redfin because they're thinned out and they grow bigger.
Well, reddies in the Murray, you just don't get them like you used to. They used to be littered right throughout the Murray. Now you barely catch them. We've seen a few start to pop up this year on the back of a once in a 100-year rain event that we had last year, so that makes perfect sense. But you're right, the cod keep them in check. We've been able to put things in place to keep them at bay with a native species. And I shouldn't say they're classed in the same species of a European carp. They don't destroy the banks and nesting areas of our native fish. So it's a little bit of a different thing there. It's probably a bit harsh saying that, but they're an interesting species, and they taste good. If a carp tastes good, if a carp tasted good, I bet ya.
Have you eaten carp, Lee?
No.
No, and it was a serious question because we did talk about that ages ago on the podcast, and I think we had a few people contact us on Instagram or comment that they had.
Yeah, but there's a heap of weirdos out there, Luke.
But it's not something that just screams at me, throw me on the pan. You know
no,
what I mean?
But then they eat them. I know that they're a massive food source in other countries, but the difference is, like, I fish for carp fish carp lakes over in Europe, and that the water's clean.
Clean, that's right.
Pebbly bottom. It's not like here where we've got mud that then goes through the water and then goes through the fish. So I would assume if you caught a carp in clean water, if you caught a carp like in a flowing river, like I reckon if you caught a carp out of the Goulburn River, say, around, Thornton, whatever, it'd probably taste pretty good because it's in clean flowing water.
Lee, you do that and let us know.
I'm busy that day.
Hey, you just mentioned bass before. I know you've gone a bit bass mad over the last few years, Lee. I saw today that there was a bass caught. Is it Somerset Dam Lake?
Yeah, Somerset Dam, Queensland.
Yep,
Queensland. That was recaptured, I should say, 26 years after it was initially tagged.
Yep.
That's cool.
Nice.
I love that sort of shit.
And this is my argument with stocking these long-living native species. You get a fishery that just continues to get better. Blue Rock hasn't even hit its straps yet. It's still 10 years away from being unbelievable.
Close.
So, and this is my other argument with, and people go, why are you so on about bass? And I go, well, because if you put bass into a lake Fynes, in the middle of summer, when everyone's on holidays and you cannot catch a trout for love or money because it's too hot, right? Mm. That's when species like bass and all them are at their prime. And kids could be down there of an evening throwing a pompadour or a siglet, surface lure, catching a cool fighting fish that pulls like nothing else.
Yeah.
I was going to say something else, but
say whatever you want on this podcast, mate.
All right, pulls like a 16-year-old schoolboy.
Correct. So, well, we had Brett Geddes just talking all things about boys last week. It was weird.
He got weird. If you haven't heard that, all you have to do is listen to the intro of the Brett Geddes episode, and it sums up a conversation we had. I don't know where he was going, but anyway. But yeah, they're a cool species. And
long-lived species that gets big.
So what are your thoughts there, Lee? Let's take Devil Bend, for example. So the VFA clearly had a choice between bass and estuary perch, and they went with estuary perch.
Yep.
Is that just an accessibility thing for them, do you think?
I think from what I understand, there's two sides to it. So estuary perch are native that if they got in this part of the world, that if they got into a waterway, right, then, they're sort of supposed to be there. Bass are not naturally in that area. So, and also I think very much a part of it is, yes, they can get more, at this point, they can get more bass or estuary perch. Fingerling.
So have they got a little bit of a faster growth rate than Aussie bass? Because I've heard reports out of Devil Bend recently that there's already fish pushing over 40 centimetres.
Oh, bloody!
I know it's not like they went in last year, but they haven't been in.
Bloody Jet got one the other night that was 45.
Yeah, and they're starting to catch them on stupid things like 140 mil swim baits and shit.
Yeah,
I think it's very much food source, and bass are the same. I got a mate, and he's put bass in couple of his dams down South Gippsland way on his dairy farm. Mate, these things are 2 years old and they're already touching 28 centimetres.
Yeah,
so
they've got the
it becomes a food source thing. Yeah. And perch, mate, those perch in Devil Bend, though, they are growing very fast. That's like a 40 centimetre estuary perch in the wild would probably be touching 20 years old.
Yeah, well, I suppose, food's everything.
Yep. Yep. So, I think food source is a big part of it. So, fisheries just need to keep chucking in trout for them.
Yeah, they will. They got it back.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not a bad segue, actually. Lee, last week on the show, we discussed the best boat snacks, the best food to eat on a boat. And I think I've mentioned on this podcast before that and I've been on a boat with you a couple of times. You do tend to put on a good spread. I do believe we've had quite the spread on board. I think we were live baiting kingfish or something a couple of years back, and there's a bit of a platter going on. Like Lee's been hard at work prior to getting on the boat. I loved it. But if you
have good food,
you do. But you can also, straight off the bat, Ads and I kept it pretty simple. For us, there's
we had the same answer without conversing before the show.
Is there anything better as a boat snack than barbecue shapes? It's pretty solid.
Well, they are. Yeah, look, they're doable.
Only doable?
I'm all ears.
Jesus.
What are we talking here?
So
If you say pizza shapes, I will disconnect you from this call.
nah, I'm. So
Lee has left the chat.
There's two things that I have. You've got to have, like, I'm not a big chocolate eater, but on the boat you've got to have a Boost bar every day, and not one of the shitty little ones. It's got to be the double one.
The double, yeah, of
interesting
course.
choice in a Boost. Yep, carry
Boost
on.
is a good chocolate.
You've got to have a Boost
hearty
bar,
chocolate.
right? And it's amazing how often you're not catching fish. Oh, I've got to have a Boost bar. I'll catch fish. Have a Boost bar, catch them.
Yeah.
And then my other weakness in life is Mission corn strips.
Ah.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah,
I made a bag of them or
a quality corn chip.
Yeah, it's got to be the Mission ones. I don't want Doritos or CCs. I want the Mission corn strips, not the round ones.
It's the rectangle. Yeah.
Are we talking like the white corn or yellow corn?
White corn.
Yep, nice.
White corn, and if I'm healthy, I'll have it with a tub of hummus.
Yep.
Or
see what I mean, Adam? He brings out a full spread.
Yeah, I do like summer because that's when I bring out my platters. You know, the cucumbers and cut up carrots and corned beef and pickles and cheeses. You know.
I love it. So we did put it to the people, didn't we, Ads? And can I go through a couple of the responses?
Yeah.
And it's just to quickly a few of them straight off the top. There's mention of jerky. I mean, it's always good to have a bag of jerky on board. That's
it
not
seems
bad.
to be more of a road trip snack to me. It's more of a car snack than a boat snack.
But,
Yep, jerky. I'll pay it.
No, that's good.
Pay it.
There is burgers cooked on the portable barbecue. If you've got the facilities, I guess, why not?
Yeah.
There is donuts, just donuts. Or is that sort of alluding to how your day's going to go? I think that's...
maybe.
Old mate Blue Water Johnny, thanks John. He's thrown his mate Borno under the bus there. He said, it's donuts with Banana Boy Borno. So there you go. They're just throwing each other under the bus. But I think there was chicken wings was in there as well. I mean,
there is one other.
People are getting creative.
Oh yeah,
there is one other that is like it's all time.
Mm.
You can have it cold, but if you've got a pie oven, it's next level.
Yep.
There is none other than the 21-piece bucket.
True.
Straight up.
That's
wow.
actually that's the
21-piece bucket. When you're heading out in the morning, especially in sortie season, because you're going out in the dark and it's cold, straight up, couple of pieces. But your 21-piece bucket's never 21 pieces.
Lee, I really appreciate your passion. I really do, because I can.
You got no idea. I'm excited just thinking about it.
But can I just ask something? Just a technical question. When are you purchasing the bucket? If you're heading out early...
Well, the night before, you get KFC for dinner, right?
Right.
But then you get a 21-piece bucket as well. And it's like the 21-piece bucket's for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you usually we usually get chicken in Traralgon. When you first drive into Traralgon, that KFC there, they're consistently good. Trouble is, by the time... So you've had your Zinger burger meal, right? But then by the time you've got to Sale, your 21-piece bucket's down at about 15 pieces. Because you can't not.
Yeah, you can't not. Even when you don't want it, you gotta.
You don't. I don't know.
All right, I'll pay the KFC chicken.
Yeah,
if KFC are listening, I mean, we're open to sort of some sponsorship deals here. So,
man, I don't want money. I just want chicken.
Just buckets every time we go out. Okay, I mean that's not bad. The pie warmer. I think we spoke about the pie warmer and the pies are a good one. But yeah, okay, all right. Well, that's good. I mean, I just thought I'd throw it out there, just given that we spoke about it recently on the show.
Yep.
It's an important part of the day.
It is.
I've got another question for you, Lee. This is from another episode, but it is something that it was interesting to hear the feedback from Adam when we put it out there on Instagram. Because I raised the question, is a bimini twist now redundant in fishing?
Oh, I saw that.
We kind of... Adam and I, we kind of thought, it probably is. I mean, we don't use it anymore. Not many people that we fish with use it. However, there was a number of people on Instagram saying, yes, still use it, very much so. So which came as a bit of a surprise to me. When was the last time you tied a bimini twist?
Me,
Yeah.
back in about 1981.
Well, I just want to preface by saying all the people that are still tying bimini twists clearly don't know how to tie an FG or a PR.
And that's exactly right. And some people just can't do it. Some people don't want to do it. A lot of you guides up in the territory, they don't use FGs and all that sort of stuff because they still just use a double and they do that guide knot that they do because it's quick and it's easy and they can chop the leader off and put a new leader on and they don't have to.
Well, that's the key. They can tie it quickly. They've got them down to a fine art.
A bimini's a bloody good double knot though, like a great double knot. So I still use a bimini on my braid for my sortie reel to join my top shot.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So
very interesting.
So yeah, I still use it for that, but that's probably about where it's at.
Because I hated doing them. Never really got great at them and the reason I stopped was because I learned if I'm not going to fuck around with these anymore, I need to learn something else. And it was around the time that the FG not really hit our shores, so to speak, and I got good enough at that I didn't have to do the other one anymore. So
yeah,
but
Well, Lee, did you know any of those weirdos that would tie bimini in mono?
Oh, I've done it, but it never worked. I don't know, just the way it gets that funny little bit on it, and I don't know, I just don't love it.
It's chunky. Probably burn the shit out of the mono. When
That's
you
what I mean.
Down.
Yeah, it gets that. It never just lays straight. It gets that little kinky bit on it, and I prefer a plat in mono myself.
Yeah.
We're pretty mad about our state here in Victoria. We know we've got listeners in other states, Tassie, New South Wales, a few up in Queensland as well. But we're pretty passionate, Adam and I, on the Deep Drop about our state because we feel like there's a lot to do. To round out the show, Lee, what are you up to for the next? We're in spring now. If you're listening back on this another time, we're in spring.
Yep.
What are the next, let's say, 4 to 5 months look like for Lee Rayner?
They're going to be really busy, boys. Everything from squid, snapper, gummies, kings, tuna. I'm so excited about.
That's just in Victoria.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, this is what I say to people. Like when I did Adventure Bound, it was hard because the show was based in Victoria, right? And every year it was a grind to make your episodes in Victoria, and you had to go to other states. I've said it to Clarkie even 2 weeks ago. I go, mate, imagine how easy Adventure Bound would be to make these days. You wouldn't even have to leave Victoria because it's just this big merry-go-round of endless fishing these days. But I'll tell you what I'm really excited about for this summer. Like I love hot weather and we're going to have a hot summer. We've had massive floods over the last few years. All the estuaries have had these big flushes. I'm so excited for this summer in the estuaries in Gippsland, southern New South Wales. It is going to be wild fishing. Bass fishing is going to be crazy, but the estuaries are going to be, I believe, something special. And I will go out on a limb and say I think we're on the cusp of a pretty special kingy season too. I think you will see kings everywhere this summer.
That's pretty bloody exciting too. I don't think anyone's going to knock that.
No, I remember talking to you about kingfish way back in the day, Lee, and I still remember vividly you saying the hotter the better. Like we're talking, if you got that beautiful blue, purple water out of shore, it's 40 degrees, hotter the better, those kings are coming up. You will catch them.
Yeah, and it's that top water stuff. They get up on the surface and, but the best thing is that I'm hoping that with a hot summer, we go back to those real northerly wind patterns, which means all along our coastline, you can fish.
It's flat.
You can do all that. I fished Marlow Reef when it was blowing 35 knots from the north, and we literally launched at Lake's entrance and ran the back of the beach in about 8 metres of water, and it was dead flat all the way up to Marlow and then shot out to the reef when the wind backed off because it's just these northerlies and then the sea's flat and it's just so good. So, there's a lot of big marlin fishing. I'll be doing everything, but I am genuinely excited for the estuary fishing and the kingies this summer. That will be what really,
Well, we're keen to keep an eye on you, mate, and I reckon we'll have you on, throughout summer or maybe on the back end to see how it's all gone. But
I just think we should all go away for a week and go catch them.
I mean,
okay, let's do it. Now or
hey Luke, you go. We'll meet you there. We'll be there soon.
Yeah. Mate, thank you so much for joining us on the Deep Drop. It is a pleasure. It was great having you part of the live show. Lots and lots of fun. Great having you here tonight, and I'm sure we'll get you back on another time. You and I are hitting the water in the morning, mate, so I'm pumped. I'm looking forward to some cheese platters or something that you've got planned.
Oh, sure.
KFC. It's got to be KFC. Don't worry about anything
Or
else.
a bucket.
Yeah,
I'm
Luke,
getting a bucket
you
for
take the
Luke's head.
barbecue shapes, Lee. You provide the bucket, and seems like a quality day, and you haven't even cast a lure yet.
Yeah. Actually, I've got to go make some wraps for lunch for tomorrow for us.
See? All right, mate. Well, thank you very much. Great to have you on the show.
No, thanks for having me, guys.